PTF and JK back with you on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Thanks so much to our friends at DK Horse for sponsoring this video. Check them out by downloading the DK Horse app or going over to dkhorse.com. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Pick Six on Saturday. JK, you're going to be giving us your final answers. Going to have much more on this sequence over on the podcast side, over at inthemoneypodcast.com or In the Money Players Podcast, wherever you get your pods. But we need you on record, my friend, with your final answers for this Pick Six. It kicks off in the Met Mile. We've already done a video about this. I think you can do it pretty quickly. What will be your approach for the Pick Six in the Met Mile to kick things off?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fierceness, the one horse, is the best horse in training. So I'll single him. I will have some backups with White Barrio and with Just a Touch, who I think is another really talented racehorse that if Fierceness, the real Fierceness, doesn't show up, he could get in the mix. So I'll single a Fierceness, but I will use White Barrio and Just a Touch as backups.
Race number 9 is the grade 1 Jaipur, 5.5 on the turf. Could be wet turf. There's some rain clouds in the forecast for sure. You got a big favorite in here too, in the form of Think Big. Are you with him or against him?
I'm definitely with him. He's been sensational his last couple starts. He's run very well at this distance, the 5, the 5.5. The other thing I like about him, 3 for 3 on turf courses that are not listed as firm. That's not going to be any problem for him. The Blue Silks from Godolphin could have a big weekend. He might be a part of that. I'll also use the one Extendo down on the inside who I thought was pretty good. I'll use him as an A type. It is a turf sprint. I don't want to be too aggressive on Think Big. I'll also use the 3-hour shot, who has some back races that make sense to me. And then the last one that I wanted to also include was AG Bullet, one that I'll use as well. One that a filly in here who has some nice races. I am completely against Coppola. I wouldn't be surprised if this horse doesn't scratch. Dale Roman's run this horse pretty aggressively in the last couple of races. This horse does not like soft ground and should be at least a little bit of give with the weather.
He's such a cool horse, but I agree. He probably wants to be able to hear his feet rattle. That scenario, not likely for Saturday. Very tricky, trappy spread race there. But it's so tricky because Think Big is so good. I like the way you're describing it. Mainly go through him, run some backup lines through some of the others. Let's go to race number 10, grade 3, Pennine Ridge, 1.16 on the turf, field of 10, scheduled to go postward. Another big favorite you have to decide what you want to do with. In this case, it's Zulu Kingdom. I know I'd be with him. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with him. I mean, look, if you look at his past performances, he's arguably could have been undefeated if he didn't have a little trouble in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It's the only race that he lost. I'm going to use him. I'm also going to use horses probably as B types, like Flying Mohawk, who I think is a little bit interesting, getting back to the turf. Noble Confessor, another one who's still a maiden but has shown some really nice races. I'll probably use those types as Bs. I have to use States Rights as an A. The trouble this horse had last time with Jose Ortiz down at Keeneland. We talked about it on another show. I was involved in that race in the Keeneland Grade 1 gamble. So I remember it very, very passionately. I think this horse is sitting on a big race as well. I don't know if his best race is good enough to beat Zulu Kingdom, but he's definitely going to be an A for me. I'll use 1, 3 as A's, but I'm going to make sure I have horses like the 4 and the 9 as B types.
And to clarify, in a race like this where you're using several but really like the favorite, in addition to having those favorites be A types as you've described them, I'm going to guess you're likely to come back and play the entire sequence at extra time with those shorter priced A's that you really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good stuff there. We'll move on to the grade 1 Woody Stevens, another race where I could probably tell you stories about 6 of them. How are you going to approach this race as far as the Pick Six goes?
Yeah, make sure you check out our bold predictions video. We talk about this race in a couple of different ways. I'm going to use Patch Adams. I thought his last race was just too good. I really obviously like the 7 Colloquial. I'll use that horse as well. I'm going to use Neo Equus, the 9, as an A horse, getting finally the cutback. We had Safi Joseph on our Monster Pod talking about Neo Equus, and he basically said, I don't think he can get the distance of the 1.25 miles, but we're going to try him anyways. And then Chancellor McPatrick, who's undefeated around 1 turn. A little disappointed in the way that his figures haven't really progressed, but I'm giving him a little bit of leeway because he was probably doing something he didn't want to do. I'll use those 4 horses as A's.
Do yourself a favor and take another look at this gate to wire. The more I look at him, the more I give him a little bit of a squeak in there. If you're spreading anyway and you can get one combo using him, I wouldn't say no, even if it's only as more of a C. We move on to race number 12, the grade 1 Manhattan Stakes. Boy, interesting running of this one. You've got a lot of familiar names in here. What numbers will be on the tickets, though?
Yeah, I'm going to use deterministic as an A. I think that the kind of newfound let him roll. You get Kendrick Carmouche. I like that. He's very versatile. He's won on dirt and turf, which makes me feel that some soft ground won't be a problem for him either. Spirit of St. Louis has just been sensational all year long. It's a home game for Chad Brown and Spirit of St. Louis. I want to make sure I have him. I'm against Farbridge. I'll be rooting for Miguel Clement, the Clement operation all weekend. But this is a horse that it's been publicized. He likes to be on the inside. He likes to lug in. He's now drawn outside. I think that could be problematic. I'll use Integration, the 2-horse, as a B type, more of an underneath type, and Carson's Run also as a B type. But Deterministic and Spirit of St. Louis will be my A type horses.
I was going to ask about Spirit of St. Louis and if he was going to be on there. But yeah, based on his form, he makes sense for you to have as a strong A. This all pays off in the Belmont Stakes. Can you get away with using all three of the leading contenders in here? Journalism, Sovereignty, Baeza, or do you have to choose? Today's video brought to you by our friends at DK Horse. Download the DK Horse app today. The $100,000 DK Horse Acorn Queen of the Track is coming up this weekend. Opt in and place a minimum $5 straight win bet on a single horse in the DK Horse Acorn Stakes for a share of the $100,000 prize pool. Rewards will be available via click to claim. You have to opt in to participate. For much more information, go to dkhorse.com or download the DK Horse app today.
Yeah, I'm going to use the top two. I think they're the best 2 horses, Journalism and Sovereignty. I'll use them as A's. I'll be rooting like heck for Journalism. My angle on the day is to kind of be, to a certain extent, against Sovereignty, but I'm not going to be against him if I get all these other things right. Baeza will be a B horse to me. Journalism's beat Baeza twice. Sovereignty's beat him once. Those are the only 3 that I need. I think something ridiculous that I can't imagine has to happen for a horse like Rodriguez or Crudo to win.
Previously, we talked about this race in a video. People really picked up on in the comments too about that idea of Rodriguez, maybe being loose. But the entering of Crudo, which we didn't know when we recorded that other video, changes that quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would think so, but I don't think he's going to be out there and in as lightly race as he is trying to hook Rodriguez. I think he'll probably just sit off of him, maybe make him run a little bit earlier at the half-mile pole or at the 3/8 pole than he was kind of planning on running. Either way, I think when you have horses like Rodriguez or Crudo and you want to try to get interested in them, you need the big horse to not show up. The problem is there's kind of 3 big horses, and the chances of all 3 of them not showing up doesn't seem likely.
Very well put. I mentioned the comments. We want to hear your comments. Let us know where you want to plant a flag in this pick 6, what you think on the day, what you think of these videos, where we got it right, where we got it wrong. And while you're at the channel, make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Big push the next few days. We want to get over 14,000 subscribers. First, we got to get over 13, but we're right there. Help us out. It really helps people and helps us when you do that. PTF and JK, Godspeed on this Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga. That's it for the In the Money Media YouTube channel.